see who we can find. Captain, there's a guy we can scare.
I had 4 biscuits and I ate 1. Then I only had 3.
Godzilla is the king of the monsters, but the king is only as threatening as his rogues gallery. From giant moths, 3-headed dragons, and space chickens, Godzilla has a lot of challengers for his King of the Monsters title. But to me, the most intimidating and challenging of Godzilla's foes was the bionic terror himself, MechaGodzilla. Just like Godzilla, there have been a ton of different iterations of MechaGodzilla. Some versions of MechaGodzilla are weapons meant to defend humanity from Godzilla, others being the exact opposite. With these wide varieties of the same character, I thought it'd be interesting to take a look at these different iterations and rank them from weakest to strongest. While some of these MechaGodzillas are weaker than others, one common trait that all MechaGodzillas share is the ability to push their respective Godzilla to their limit. So with that being said, join me on today's video where we'll be ranking each MechaGodzilla from weakest to strongest. But before that, I'd like to thank anyone who's been watching the videos, liking the videos, and sharing the videos. I only started around a month ago, but we already hit almost 500 subscribers. So if you're a fan of the channel, share, like, it pushes out the channel to YouTube, and I thank you guys once again. If you guys want to talk to me, reach out to me on my Instagram. I'm likely to respond, drop a follow. But with all of that out of the way, let's get into the video. For the sake of my sanity and your guys' time, I'm only going to be covering the 4 live-action versions of MechaGodzilla, being Showa Mechagodzilla, Heisei Mechagodzilla, Kiryu from the Kiryu saga, and the Monsterverse version of the character. There is a 5th cinematic Mechagodzilla, but he's from the anime trilogy, and he's kind of featless, and he was kind of never used, and I'm going to be honest, I never watched the Godzilla anime trilogy, so I don't know the context for his metas and scans, and I don't want to be disingenuous or report something wrong. So, to all of my Godzilla anime enjoyers, I'll get on that and I'll make a video on Godzilla Earth eventually down the line, but as of right now, we're just going to be sticking to those 4 main MechaGodzillas. So at the bottom spot at number 4, the weakest iteration of cinematic live-action MechaGodzilla is none other than the Monsterverse version of MechaGodzilla. And I know what some of y'all are thinking. This guy was boxing King Kong and Godzilla at the same time. He was doing the work and giving them both the business. How is he the weakest version of the character? I know, but once you get into inverse statements and the context of the scenes, he's not all that. He's just not. So what do I mean when I say this? To get a better idea of what I'm talking about, we have to analyze MechaGodzilla's performance against the 2 titular kaiju. So let's start with King Kong. At first, you might assume that King Kong is relative to Godzilla, but after looking at inverse statements and the director's statements, that is the furthest thing from reality. Godzilla and Kong fight twice in the movie. One time on the aircraft carrier, and one time in Hong Kong. Both times, Godzilla is confirmed to be playing the entire time.
If you look at Godzilla really carefully, like, he knows that he's kind of just playing with Kong the entire time. You know, like, if you look at the ship battle fight, they have that kind of like moment where Kong is almost drowned and he's like laying on the boat and Godzilla shows up and they're kind of staring each other down. Godzilla's kind of laughing at him. And like, okay, you know, like, just stay right there and we're good, you know? And I think the whole time, like, Godzilla kind of thinks that they're sort of having fun. You know, if Kong dies, whatever, he doesn't really care, but like, he's not really too worried about it. But when that axe shows up at the end, then things get a little bit more serious.
The only notable damage that King Kong is able to do to Godzilla is with the dorsal plate axe that he's using against Godzilla. Keep in mind, this axe is powered by Godzilla's own atomic breath, so it just makes Godzilla look even better. And the only shot he gets with it is when he hits him in the head, and it just briefly knocks him out. Keep in mind, Godzilla only got hit by Kong as he was playing with him the entire time. It wasn't really sweating him.
Godzilla's having fun. I mean, like, he's not really worried about losing. He's really not. I mean, I know maybe it seems like he is in certain parts. He's got something to do. He's here to go get MechaGodzilla and take it. I will admit he's probably pretty surprised for this to happen here, as he looks right here. Yeah, he looks pretty surprised.
And the second that Godzilla gets tired, he dispatches of Kong very, very easily. Alright, now when we analyze King Kong's performance against MechaGodzilla, King Kong, at 50% power, mind you, after being resuscitated, is able to knock MechaGodzilla on his feet and hold him back multiple times. Godzilla easily overpowered King Kong, yet MechaGodzilla was somewhat struggling with him in terms of pure strength. So to say that Godzilla and MechaGodzilla are pretty relative there's already some dubious stuff on that front. But the case is closed on this manner once we analyze Godzilla and MechaGodzilla's performance against each other. And I know what you guys are thinking, how can this logic be consistent if MechaGodzilla was shown on screen to physically dominate Godzilla? Once again, we have to look at the statements and the context of the movie to see the actual true scaling. Adam Wingard has confirmed that Godzilla was not at 100% when fighting Mechagodzilla.
This scene used to be much more of a Godzilla and Mechagodzilla, battling it out, and there was a lot more give and take, and ultimately, it just didn't work. It was like, at the end of the day, the only thing that that really made sense to show in this part was Godzilla just getting his ass handed to him. I mean, Mechagodzilla is designed to take on Godzilla, and Godzilla, by the way, I think would probably do a lot better in this fight if he hadn't have just gone a couple rounds with Kong. I mean, Godzilla's pretty tired. I mean, he hasn't had a chance to really slow down this entire movie. I mean, presumably he's been swimming around and, going nuts in the ocean when he's not on screen, and so when Mechagodzilla comes out, they just, he doesn't have a lot of reserves left in him, and so it's a bit unfair.
And the art book goes into this as it's revealed that the final Hong Kong fight was actually 12 hours long. And true, Godzilla was playing with Kong, but even playing with something for 12 hours is going to get you a little tired, especially if you're physically fighting. There's even some on-screen evidence that's consistent with this line of thinking, as none of Mechagodzilla's physical blows can even really damage Godzilla. Sure, he's getting outmaneuvered and outplayed, but none of Mechagodzilla's blows are really doing that much damage to Godzilla. Godzilla and Mechagodzilla, when they're both running at each other full force, a tired Godzilla does actually win the first tuggle of strength. And during the Dragon Ball Z beam struggle, Godzilla's atomic breath is noticeably less bright and powerful and potent as it usually looks like. This is actually consistent, as Adam Wingard has actually stated that if Godzilla went into the beam struggle full power, he doesn't think Godzilla would have lost. And Mechagodzilla actually tries to kill Godzilla by shooting his atomic beam into Godzilla's mouth, with Adam Wingard even going on record saying that he doesn't even know if it could kill Godzilla.
That quite a bit. So, yeah, I think that maybe he could have taken Godzilla out here. I don't know. I mean, it seems at least plausible in an interesting way. Nice little throwback.
Keep in mind, Mechagodzilla only resorts to this, as none of Mechagodzilla's physical strikes, as noted, don't do any real damage to Godzilla.
He was going to dispatch Godzilla in the same way that Godzilla killed the Muto in the first film by blowing an atomic breath down his throat. In retrospect, I think it's probably the only way just about that I can imagine Godzilla actually going down, because his skin is impenetrable. I think the only way you can get in there is blow his guts out, and I think Mechagodzilla was really close to doing it.
And it's for this reason that I have Mechagodzilla to be the weakest version of cinematic Mechagodzilla. Because look, the Monsterverse is around multi-continental at the highest end, right? The higher gods of the verse, like Godzilla, Ghidorah, Muto, Prime, all multi-continental. And then you have Mechagodzilla who barely scales to them, right? So this would put Mechagodzilla in the continental to low multi-continental ends of power. This isn't a Monsterverse scaling video, so I'm not going to get into Godzilla's actual scaling, right? But to give you a rough estimate of Mechagodzilla's power, he should scale to one of Godzilla's most casual durability feats. Godzilla in a prequel comic is actually able to tank the permanent impact, which was calculated around continental to multi-continental. This would scale to Godzilla's durability as he got hit point blank and swam away without a scratch. Mechagodzilla is able to give Godzilla a black eye, so Mechagodzilla would scale to this level of power. So MG would be around continental to multi-continental at a high end. Alright, let's talk about the one aspect that Monsterverse Mechagodzilla does not disappoint in. Speed. He should have relativistic attack speed and reaction time, seeing as how he can keep up with Godzilla and Kong. Kong being a kaiju who can react to Godzilla's atomic breath, which is confirmed to be Cherenko radiation, which moves at around 75% the speed of light, making Mechagodzilla by extension relativistic plus. And he'd have speed of light attack speed, as his laser is a laser, so it's the speed of light. At number 3, we have Kiryu from the Kiryu saga, from the two movies Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla and Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla Tokyo SOS. For starters, unlike his Monsterverse counterpart, Kiryu actually scales to his version of Godzilla, being able to match him in physical strength and ragdoll him, as well as puncture his skin multiple times, noticeably injure this Godzilla, and actually leave a scar on him that is carried on between this film and the next one. And unlike in GVK, there's no director statement saying that Godzilla was tired or had 50% power. All of this would scale to a base Godzilla. Kiryu also has a wide variety of weapons, including mouth cannons, missiles, and plasma blades. And his most famous and powerful weapon is without a doubt the Absolute Zero Cannon, which freezes his opponents while also dealing major damages. But the only con is that it uses up 40% of Kiryu's power, so he has to choose when he uses it, or he'll be in a tough spot. Whoop-de-doo, Kiryu scales to his Godzilla. But if he doesn't have the attack potency to back it up, then there's no point in him being this high. So with that, let's move into Kiryu's attack potency. As previously mentioned, Kiryu's most devastating corresponding weapon is the Absolute Zero Cannon, which is not only made to turn its target into ice, it also causes destruction on molecular. Alright, it also causes destruction on molecular. It also causes destruction on a molecular level. Good enough. Kiryu uses this cannon twice in the film, and both times the calcs are around multi-continental. The cannon should scale to Kiryu's attack potency and durability, as he was close to when it went off the second time. And he's able to take blows from Godzilla's atomic breath, which can be argued to be stronger than Kiryu's Absolute Zero Cannon. And he's able to injure Godzilla, who tanked Kiryu's Absolute Zero Cannon. So MechaGodzilla from this continuity would scale anywhere from multi-continental to like higher multi-continental, which is already better than the Monsterverse version of MechaGodzilla. Moving on to Kiryu's speed, where he should have FTL reaction time, seeing as how he was able to dodge Godzilla's atomic breath, which is confirmed to be just pure radiation, meaning that it would move at the speed of light.
It's not a heat ray, it's a stream of pure radiation.
Kiryu was able to dodge this atomic breath and react to it after it's fired, meaning that he would scale relative to even faster than it, rather casually as well. And Kiryu also has a maser cannon. Masers move at around the speed of light, meaning that Kiryu has FTL reaction time and attack speed, and he has a speed of light attack as well. So he's not that bad in the speed department. Moving on to the second strongest iteration of Mechagodzilla, and it has to be the Showa Mechagodzilla. For starters, he directly upscaled the second King Ghidorah, which was described as having more destructive energy than any supernova ever. He would upscale from this King Ghidorah, as he's directly stated to be stronger than the second gen weaker Ghidorah. Supernovas range anywhere from star level to solar system level, so Mechagodzilla would be in this ballpark of power. And for people who don't like statements, Mechagodzilla also has the feats that he should scale to in order to justify this realm of power. Moving on to his physical feats and stuff he scales to, the aliens that constructed him were from a black hole. It's apparently a pretty big black hole, seeing as how it could fit hundreds of dying stars as well. And seeing how Mechagodzilla was constructed in this black hole, naturally he'd have the durability to upscale and survive being in it, which is calculated to around solar system level. And for the Uni Plus stuff that I described in my video, he'd scale to Godzilla or above a Godzilla, who should scale relative to above Zone Fighter, who was able to fight fourth dimensional beings. I don't go that deep into it for this. I have a whole 20-minute video you can check out here. But yeah, Mechagodzilla has feats and statements that would get him anywhere from star level to solar system level to Uni Plus at a high end. And it's important to note that he should scale to that in his weakest form, as in Terra Mechagodzilla he gets 5 times stronger. Now moving to his feats, he should scale to Godzilla, seeing as he's confirmed to be stronger than him and make him bleed, and Godzilla needed an amp to beat him. But unfortunately, he wouldn't really scale that much to Terra Mechagodzilla Godzilla, as he got significantly times stronger. And I also want to talk about Mechagodzilla's godly durability, as he's able to endure his own reflected beams amped by 10 times by King Caesar. Seeing as how he's 5 times stronger in Terra Mechagodzilla, this would mean that his durability is 50 times stronger, if my math is correct. I'm not the biggest math guy. And moving on to speed, Showa Mechagodzilla should already have speed of light attack speed. This is ultimately because his beams are confirmed to be beams of light, so therefore they should be light speed attacks. His weapons can tag Godzilla, who has shown the ability to dodge these same laser light rays. And there's even one dubious instance in which Mechagodzilla arguably dodges a beam of light himself. A better instance of Mechagodzilla dodging beams of light is when he dodges Godzilla's atomic breath. So Mechagodzilla would already be in that faster than light conversation in terms of speed. But massively faster than light is not out of the conversation, seeing as that Mechagodzilla is actually confirmed to be faster than King Ghidorah. If y'all remember my Godzilla video, then you'd know that Ghidorah has a feat where he crosses the Space Hunter Nebula M in a short amount of time, with the calc being around 1 billion times the speed of light. Mechagodzilla is faster than this, so he would easily fall into the massively faster than light category in terms of speed. And for those of you who are saying that it's only travel speed, the same Showa Ghidorah, which is slower than Mechagodzilla, is shown to be able to fight Zone Fighter at these speeds while flying in Zone Fighter. So Mechagodzilla wouldn't only have massively faster than light travel speed, it would also scale to his reaction time and attack speed. And at number 1, the strongest iteration of live-action Mechagodzilla just has to be the Heisei Mechagodzilla. Heisei Mechagodzilla scales to a Godzilla which is stronger than a previous incarnation of Heisei Godzilla, which was confirmed to be stronger than anything in the Showa era. A weaker Heisei Godzilla than the one that Mechagodzilla scales to was able to slam Ghidorah rather easily. This is very impressive, because the Ghidorah in the Heisei era is actually stronger than the one from the Showa era. And if you know my Showa era scaling, you'd know that the Showa Ghidorah is the strongest kaiju in the verse. So Heisei Godzilla, and by extension Heisei Mechagodzilla, would upscale from every single Showa era feat. Granted, this is a statement, yes, but I assure you the Heisei era has a lot of feats and statements that would justify scaling to this level of power. You see, this is not a Final War situation where we have a single statement that says that this character is stronger than these characters, even though said character has no feats indicating so. You can get Heisei to around multi-solar system to like galaxy at this point in time very easily, so that would be consistent, as solar system is already the mid-end for the Showa era. So with that, let's get into Mechagodzilla's scaling. Heisei Godzilla was able to beat Biollante, whose cells are durable enough to survive being in a black hole. Said Heisei Godzilla gets 200 times stronger before even encountering Mechagodzilla. So already we have casual multi-solar system levels of power, as surviving the black hole in the way that
Biollante's cells did
was calculated to around multi-solar system level. Off of that, he gets 200 times stronger. He's very deep in the solar system already off the bat, casually as well. Heisei Godzilla was able to fight the Fire Mirror. The Fire Mirror is a weapon that can reflect Godzilla's own atomic breath with 10,000 times the attack potency. So the Heisei Godzilla that Mechagodzilla scales to is durable enough to take his own multi-solar system level attack at 10,000 times the attack potency. And Mechagodzilla is outright stated to be superior than the Fire Mirror in base. Oh yeah, Heisei Mechagodzilla gets another form, which amplifies all of his stats by 200%. In the movie, Godzilla is actually able to endure his own reflected atomic breath by 10,000 times the attack potency, which is important because Mechagodzilla's weapons can actually pierce Godzilla's flesh. I'm not the biggest math guy, but let's do the math. Get a multi-solar system level attack, times that by 200, then multiply that by 10,000, and then times that by 2, and you have Heisei Mechagodzilla's realm of power, which would still be a low ball. So MG would basically be multi-galaxy level pretty casually, and you can get him the Uni Plus using him upscaling the Showa era as well. Moving on to Heisei Mechagodzilla's speed, he should be comparable to Heisei Godzilla, who can fight on par with Space Godzilla, who's confirmed to be faster than Gigan from the Showa era. Space Godzilla's crystals are faster than Space Godzilla's actual flight speed, and Heisei Godzilla is able to react to them and shoot them down with his atomic breath. Mechagodzilla should scale to Godzilla in every aspect, including speed, so he would upscale to this massively faster than like category in terms of speed. And just like that, we've covered all the Mechagodzillas. Some were strong, some were fodder, some were really fodder. But overall, I thought it was a very fun and informative thing to do. I hope my Godzilla fans were able to get something new out of this. And hey, if you like Godzilla scaling, subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. According to my channel analytics, not all of you guys are subs. So if you're new here, we post weekly. So think about subscribing. It helps the channel a lot. I have to thank my friends High Flyers for the Monsterverse stuff. He's a GOAT. You should go check his Monsterverse scaling video out. And I gotta thank Kingdom Monsters once again for his Heisei Godzilla video, as they proved to be a major point of reference when referring to Heisei Mechagodzilla's power. I knew he was strong, but dang, he's a monster. We'll be back next week with some new videos, and until next time, stay big, G fans.